to Lemn Sissay.
Hey man,
How are you?
I'm good today. You know, today's good. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. I mean, it's genuinely good to see you.
Good to see you. I mean, full disclosure, I've known you for 24 years.
Yeah.
That's quite a long time.
A good 24 years.
So, people watching this who don't know you, let's have a bit of background.
Okay, so I am a writer, I guess. I am an artist. I have been an artist all of my adult life. I write plays and poetry and stuff, and I make documentaries for radio occasionally and stuff, and I find it quite difficult to
I know you do.
quantify what it is I do, because...
Well, let me give you a bit of help.
Yeah.
Right? So you were born into care.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You were born into care in, where was it, Atherton?
Yeah, Atherton, Lee, Ashton,
in Lancashire. We're currently in a pub in London.
Yeah.
Because you moved down to London because you became artist in residence at the South Bank.
No.
Oh.
No, I moved for love, not money.
Ah, yeah, you did.
No,
that's
you know, I mean...
I thought it was just to get away from me.
No. Interestingly, actually, I moved for Hannah.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, I felt like I moved for the good reason, you know, and therefore I did get lots of work after that, you know. South Bank Centre and this, that and the other, and travel the world and what have you. I always did that anyway.
Yeah, I know you did, but let's go back to Atherton.
Yes.
Right? So, you know, people who are watching this who've not seen you before.
Yeah, okay.
Let's have a bit of background
Yeah, okay, all right. So, my mum came here when I was in her womb. Then she approached the social worker. She asked the social worker would he foster me when I was born until she had got through university.
Yeah.
But the social worker gave me to foster parents and said to them, "Keep this child forever. He's yours. His name is Norman."
Yeah. So, Norman Mark, wasn't
Norman,
it?
yeah. Mark, and their last name Greenwood. Norman Mark Greenwood. So I was with foster parents in Lancashire, and I thought my name was Norman Mark Greenwood until I was 12 years of age, when they put me into children's homes, and they said they'd never speak to me again, ever, and nobody did. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents, my granddad, nobody. And then I was held in 5 different children's homes for the next 6 years. Then at 17 and a half, I was released. So that's 17 and a half years being overseen by the government.
Yeah.
The state was my parent. And then a social worker said, somebody did love you, and he gave me my birth certificate, which had my name Lemn Sissay on it, not Norman Mark Greenwood. And he gave me letters of my own mother pleading for me back to a social worker to whom she'd given me to for a short period of time while she studied. And that social worker's name was Norman.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'd named me after himself. The foster parents wanted to call me Mark after Mark in the Bible.
Yeah.
And their last name Greenwood. He gave me to them and said to them, treat this as an adoption, he's yours forever.
Yeah.
So I was betrayed by them, and so was my mother. So I spent most of my adult life searching for my mum, and I found her. I found all my family all over the world.
But you found your dad
my father,
up a mountain
I found
in Ethiopia, didn't you?
In the Simeon Mountains of Ethiopia. He was a pilot for a very, very highly respected airline called Ethiopian Airlines. And his plane crashed in 1973.
Wasn't he linked to Haile Selassie?
The Emperor Haile Selassie's children went to my mother's wedding. My mother married the Vice Minister to Finance, a minor minister under the Emperor. And he was still is, an aristocrat in Ethiopia. They're an incredible family, you know. When I was in the children's homes, my brothers and sisters on my mother's side were in international schools having flight lessons as extracurricular activity.
Yeah. That's posh.
Very, very posh.
So you,
Yeah.
You were
Yes. So I left the children's homes, 18 years of age. I always knew I was going to be a poet. Always wanted to be. Didn't know what one was, except for that a poet was a writer.
Didn't you have a poster of Bob Marley on your wall?
Yeah, I had lots of posters of Bob Marley. I was really into Bob Marley when I was a kid.
He spoke some good shit, didn't he?
Well, he did, and I think Bob Marley is probably one of the reasons why I got into poetry in the first place, because he speaks through metaphor, meaning the earth and the that's around us. It is all of the answers are there. It is an extension of who we are. And when we use it as a metaphor, it can describe us better than anything.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why in the Bible there's all the stories about storms and plagues and droughts and mountains being climbed and deserts and blah. These are all extensions of what and who we are.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about, we need to look back to the shamans and how they... Yeah, we do, because they were all...
Connected?
Connected, yeah. And, you know, there's no reason why in however you define the world, as a modern world, why we shouldn't be even more connected. Because, you know, as we grow in our complexity and in our sophisticated nature, then we should know that being connected to the world, to Earth, sea, our senses, holds all the answers. And this is why artists are central, I think, when it comes down to defining what society needs and finding the answers.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when people talk about great business leaders, Mark, they will talk about them as creative.
Yeah.
They'll say, but this person can find... great people in the arts.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, actually. They'll say this person is very creative in how they find their answers. Yeah, they are, because creativity is the heart of who we are. And that's what artists do. That's what we celebrate. And I'm really lucky to have known that very, very early on. You know, when I left the children's homes, people were saying, you know, you could be a role model, you could be this, that, and the other. I was like, no, I want to be an artist, because I understand that creativity has a limitless possibility to find all of the answers all of the time. Who knew? Who knew that, for example, you know, it's very easy to talk about young people in care and what they need without ignoring the basic truth that most young people in care need either a hug or to learn how to need a hug.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all of your administrative government agencies will tell you they need this, 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 and this, and what you have is a child right in the middle of it who hasn't had a hug.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway.
Well, this video is part of inspirational people on my blog, right?
Ooh.
Now, a lot of the inspirational people on my blog, tend to be entrepreneurs. Now, entrepreneurs means risk taker. Now,
yes.
When I first met you, I saw you on stage in a pub in Manchester, and to me, you were the biggest risk taker I'd ever met.
Yep.
So to me, you are an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I know that you haven't put your energies into business, but you've put your energies into, to me, you make the world a better place, because I know that you touch thousands and thousands of people with your work, with your poetry, with your workshops, with you've got poems embedded in the streets in Manchester and London. You know, you're a CBE.
Yeah, MBE.
MBE, sorry. Yeah.
Mancunian black ethnic.
So, you know, what is it that took you, what is it that gave you the courage to go from being, betrayed by your family that you thought were your family, not knowing who your real family were, and then going on to, getting on the stage? I mean, you performed all over the world to thousands and thousands of people. You know, what is it that, you know what I mean? How did you get the courage to do that?
Well, Mark, I never felt like I had a choice. It was like, it's as clear as day. So it's really difficult for me to go, oh, well, it's, it is the courage. It's as clear as day. This is what I do.
It's just what it was.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
And actually, the more that you would have somebody saying, oh no, you shouldn't be doing it, the more I was like, oh really? Why is that? Why shouldn't I be doing something which is nothing more than celebrating ideas that are created as a result of my experience? What is so dangerous about that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel dangerous to me, but it feels necessary. It feels like I have to say, you don't have to listen, you know, but I have to do this. I have to do this.
So what would you say to people that were... I mean, we talked earlier about a workshop you did yesterday in Manchester where you were telling people to think bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah? What was that story you said? Some guy wanted to do a window or something?
Yeah, no, well, the window thing was beautiful. It was a woman who wanted to do a project and for people who are housebound, and she alighted on the idea of doing an art gallery within each window of the housebound person, so that they make a window into an art gallery, and then we, the public, go down to different art galleries, different windows, different houses.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful idea. I think it's a think big idea. But there were people who were saying, well, I'll do a set of workshops for the disabled, or I'll do a set of workshops for diverse community, or for this or for that. And I said to them, the workshops is a brilliant idea, because everything boils down to workshops at the end of the day. I mean, but that the ideas have to be big. You have to be able to say to somebody, oh, I want to make an art gallery out of the home of a housebound person. That they make an art gallery out of their home, and that the viewers stand outside and look. And that's big, and it's like, and then they go to the next one on the next street, and somebody was talking about, I want to do a wall for graffiti, and I said, well, why don't you want to do a whole street and cover all of the buildings, because he wanted to do a dialogue for people who were suffering from depression. I love the idea of bright colours being the thing that explains something that is seen as very dark. And it's just the idea that thinking big is really important, because it's probably the most expansive place on the universe is our imagination. And to think that you don't think that means that you are not experiencing your own humanity.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that by being involved in the arts, you are exploring why we're here as human beings. Think big.
Now, I also want to talk to you about, you did a lot for the Olympics, didn't you?
I did. Well, I did a poem on the Olympic site.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Well, I was the first poet commissioned to write a poem for the Olympic site. So I do a lot of public art poems on the sides of buildings, So I researched the area and I found a poem. Basically, there's a building on the Olympic site, by the Olympic site. It's a matchmaker's factory. And the first official strike in trade union history happened on that matchmaking factory by the girls who worked.
Oh yeah, the famous matchmaker strike.
Absolutely, the matchmaking girls.
Yeah.
As I researched that story, I found an article written in 1888 by Annie Besant in a Fleet Street newspaper called The Link. And the last line of that article, which is called White Slavery in London,
Wow.
which is about those matchmaking girls who are mainly from Ireland,
Yeah.
who went on strike, it says, if only there was a poet.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody did.
Wow.
So when I found that piece of research about that factory, I knew what the poem was going to be about for the entire Olympic site. So you have to get this, right? That poem is there now on the site. It's going to be there till the for the next 100 years. It's now called the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. That whole poem is about striking women.
Right.
And the refrain that comes back into the poem is strike.
Strike.
That entire site is locked down, was locked down by all of these big companies, Visa or MasterCard, etc.
Yeah.
But I got a poem on there,
Wow.
which was about a group of striking women.
Fantastic.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And it went totally under the radar,
Oh, I love
and
it.
it'll be there for the next 100 years.
That's my boy.
And that is the first poem that was commissioned, and that's the reason that all of the other poems went along the Olympic site, and that includes the Carol Ann Duffy, the poet laureate, and some incredible poets were then commissioned to write poems and put them on the side of these structures that are owned by EDF. That was because of that poem.
Wow. Phenomenal.
Great,
So,
right?
look,
So
you know-
can, people talk about poetry as if, they feel like many people, it's very easy to assume a bias against the arts. And the reason that is assumed is because the arts threatens the status quo.
Exactly. And all creativity, human creativity,
Utterly.
is
Utterly.
phenomenal, isn't it?
Utterly. And it's utterly threatening. And that means, nobody wants to hear a man reading a poem on a bus. Because he
No.
must be crazy.
Exactly.
He must be crazy, he must be quietened, he must be thrown off. Amazing. Amazing.
Listen, I know you're busy. We've got beer to drink.
Don't
So
say that one.
we've got a small, tiny beer to drink. So give us a poem, man.
Oh, poem.
Yeah,
oh
come
my
on.
gosh.
Come on.
Poem. Okay.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. I know.
It's all right. It's all right. But the thing is, I'll only know poems that I know off by heart that are from a long time. Anyway, well.
But did I
Let me
tell
just do
you?
that
No,
again.
hang on. Did I
Yeah.
tell you that my sister-in-law had a poem, your poem, read at her wedding by my wife? Because
Brilliant.
you were best man at my wedding,
Yeah.
and they read Invisible Kisses.
So beautiful.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't actually. No.
Katie read Invisible Kisses at Louise's wedding.
That's beautiful. Nobody
was
pays me any
amazing.
fucking royalties for that, by the way.
No, I've
I'm
bought you a
joking.
beer.
I was joking. It's a free poem. It's online for people to take it when they want to. There's so many.
I know it's hard with screaming kids in the background,
No, that's actually nice. The interesting thing about screaming kids
It's life,
at a
isn't
gig
it?
is, when I do gigs, sometimes you'll hear a shouting child or a door will bang or a police car will go past, or and people are like, oh my god, and I actually stop the event and I say, folks, this is what it is.
Exactly.
What
This is life.
What made you think that children don't make noises in audiences, or that doors don't slam when you're on stage? They do. They do. That's all part of it. Everything is, when you get up on stage, everything is part of the gig. And I find that embracing that fact means that you can truly enjoy a performance.
I think that's a good metaphor for life as well.
Yes, well, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it means that you're invincible.
So, poem, Lem.
A poem. Gold from the stone, oil from the earth. I yearn for my home from the time of my birth. Strength of a mother's whisper shall carry me until the hand of my lost sister joins on to my will. Root to the earth, blood from the heart, could never from birth be broken apart. Food from the platter, water from the rain, the subject and the matter. I'm going home again. You can't sell a leaf to a tree, nor the wind to the atmosphere. I know where I'm meant to be, and I can't be satisfied here. You can't give light to the moon, nor mist to the drifting clouds. I'll be leaving here soon. Costumed, cultured, crowned, sugar from the cane, coal from the wood, water from the rain, life from the blood, gold from the stone, oil from the earth. I yearn for my home from the time of my birth. Food from the platter, water from the rain, the subject and the matter. I'm going home again.
Thanks, Lem.